as tire wear goes. So it's, again, a lot of people will say don't practice pit stops on a full fuel load on new tires because it's not going to mean anything. You got to do it on those old tires, but then you have to run 40 or 50 laps to test that out. So some drivers don't have the time or the patience for that. Of course, I would be someone to do that. And look at this. For our Twitch viewers, we are back. It only took a lot of troubleshooting and a little extra money out of pocket, but our Twitch is back. So again, if you're watching on Twitch, like, share, comment, subscribe, do your $5 subscription, help the league out, help the series out. But now let's head down trackside for our starting lineup. And our starting lineup, of course, is brought to you by Central Mobile Homes. And I don't have that ad read in front of me, but we'll do the grid first. And of course, we'll do our ad read for Central Mobile Homes. Well, let's go down, Brad. And how about you start us off today with our PTR TV/Central Mobile Homes starting lineup?
And look at this front row. Now, this is a front row. Brian Mercurio up on the front from coast to coast with Mason Kane. The one win, take all, run away. Mason Kane in second place. Casey, our boy Casey Lacatis there in third with Seth Noel in P4. From there, we're going to go P5, which is going to be Garrett Grant with David Weishart Racing, and Low Money Racing's Garrett Conrath will find sixth place. From there, Jonathan Evans is in P7 with David Weishart in eighth place. Kenny Brady P9 and 10th place. Jake Nichols rounds out that fifth row.
Jimmy Pacioli will start off in P11 for coast to coast, and then Josh Ballier in the 12th position. 13th finds Mr. Jake Fisher. He needs a good run to keep his playoff life alive. Jalen Handcamp in the 14th spot. Peyton Howell 15th, and then Danny Ware. Where is he? Right outside of row number 8. Jordan Kuntz out of insert flag here. I don't know where that is. Rocky Boyd in 18th, 19th and 20th. For us, he's in 19th. And then Ben, the T stands for 20 because he's in 20th.
From there, we're going to go P21, Bryce Sitisak. And then 22nd place is AJ Stravato. And then Jeremy Miller will find 23rd with Nico Servideo in 24th. Ryan Nowicki in P25 with Doug DeNice. It's very nice to see him in 26th. Gabe Herschel, P27 for Coast to Coast, and Tanner Love will not love that Lucky Ducks is in P28. Travis Beckner will beckon his way into 29th with Caden Diedrich in 30th. I'm going to finish this one out. 31st place, Justin Anasogat. Tyler Hallman, 32nd, and that is all.
That be it, yo, here. And now let's take a look at our race details here and all these cameras. I don't have our Whiplash cameras here today, unfortunately. So some of these cameras are not the best in the world. We'll work through it, though. Our 133-lap race, again, no stages, 4 sets of Goodyears in the pits to their avail with, of course, our fixed sets and our full fuel load. Haven't been privy to information, but I'd gather 80 to 85 laps of pit time, but I have a strange feeling that we aren't going to go that far because this track has been rather difficult on these drivers. But we'll come out for what should be 2 pace laps. Oh, as Mercurio comes on in, this gives me a good opportunity to... I couldn't fit the names on because if I fit everyone's names on, it would have been way too long of a graphic. But all those are the car numbers of those who have an EOL. And then the ultra unlucky driver is Tyler Hallman. He will have to make a drive-through penalty, which will lose him a lap, or if not a lap, super duper close to it.
Yeah, and it's, one of those that you see all of those end lines hit, and it just... So if you're a driver with the end line, it just hurts.
Brad. Look who has the pseudo pole here today. Unless they give it to Seth Noel on the outside, it's going to be Casey Lacatis on the makeshift pole here today. And again, our race lineup brought to you by Central Mobile Homes. If you're looking for a large or small trailer, again, I didn't have it in front of me. I thought I could do it offhand. A large or a small home, a new shed or triple truck trailer, look no closer than Central Mobile Homes. Proudly serving Florida customers for 29 years. Plethora of small and large home floor plans. Shed design, the triple crowd trailers available at LaBelle, Okeechobee, Clewiston, and Sebring. Head to centralmobilehomesinc.com. You'd think after reading these twice a week for about 4 or 5 months now, I'd have them down pat, but ain't that good. But what is good is the fact that we're heading down the back straightaway here at Nashville Super Speedway. Casey Lacatis going to get things rolling down for us tonight, Brad.
Yeah, let's see how Casey does here. Seth Noel to the outside. That's a quick driver to join him there. So, I mean, he's going to be in an interesting position, and I have a feeling he's going to do just fine with it, though, when it's all said and done. And as they come around through Nashville turn 3, turn 4, they're going to be heading towards that restart zone. And to tell you what, who's going to eat the fried chicken at the end? Who's got the meatloaf? Who has a stack of Mama's hotcakes? I don't have the answer, but we're going to find out. Past the Cracker Barrel sign we go, down into the restart zone we stand, the Echo Park restart zone, and we're underway. And that is how you represent PTR TV on a race start. Seth Noel to the outside. Well, the outside line is good here at Nashville, is going to get away, and I see 3 wide already before we hit turn 1. We're playoff racing, boys.
That is a little bit scary there. Who is the meat in the sandwich? That is Jordan Kuntz, who is in that bright white truck and teal truck, but here comes the 78, Kenny Brady. I don't think we've seen him in a few weeks. Remember, he has been very competitive, and he is showing that in the very early stages. Are we pushing 4 wide, Brad? We very nearly did off of turn number 4 there to complete lap number 1. Weishart to the inside, trying to shut the door on Brady. He will do it for the time being, and we may be scooting for P1 already. Casey Lacadis looking feisty here today.
Let's see what that number 50 of Casey has here. Here's the thing. Remember, you don't win it on lap 1, but doggone if it wouldn't feel good to lead it on lap 1. Watch Garrett Conrath there, the red truck down to the inside, trying to get past Casey. Further back, 3 wide here, the 52, the 99, the 49, the 7. I mean, you got trucks everywhere. You're just going through 2 wide, 3 wide. This is Nashville, though. This is the thing. They're going to run this for a while. Eventually, it'll smooth out, but for now, it's just carnage.
Well, it ain't carnage yet because we haven't wrecked it. So, knock on wood, we'll keep it that way for the time. But never mind.
Oh, 52 down in the
playoff driver. That is Peyton Howell. And he is off yonder down the middle of the back straightaway. So, Barney typically is very, very lenient with those instances. Let's take a look at our Hendry County replay. Oh, he thought he was clear on Ballier. He was not. All through that grass. And again, because of the fact he was off the racing surface, Barney, shows a blind eye and lets him keep racing.
Yeah, Barney doesn't care if you're down in the grass. He kind of takes that approach of, every other series where it's, you're not in the way of a race, so just you don't exist. It's fine. Seth Noel, tell you what, Seth Noel doesn't think Casey exists right now. 0.3 of a second, the gap there up front as they come through down on the start-finish line down into turn 1. And Casey is just sort of cruising back. There's the 49 of Garrett Conrath trying to get around the 5 of Garrett Grant, trying to take the high line around and is going to clear him behind. That's going to open up Kenny Brady, the 78, try to come down low. They just sort of battle it out here. And you got just a good little back and forth battle. It kind of shows that inside line, not the best line here around Nashville, but you can't make it work when you try.
Yeah, you get really bogged down. These corner exits particularly are very, very tight. So having to put that extra wheel in the truck certainly doesn't help things out. But then you get to the corner, and again, in the real world, they have that resin, which is basically a sticky solution, not quite PJ1, but it's kind of a sticky type substance that goes down, and it doesn't provide grip directly, but what it does is it helps the rubber lay into the track, which in and of itself kind of provides grip, allows these guys to run about 3 wide in the real world. We don't have that in the virtual world, so we are kind of stuck to within the bottom lane and a half, which with the clean air and the dirty air factor certainly makes things a little bit difficult. But let's go back a little bit further. The only driver outside of the second lane right now is Danny Ware. And that's Jeremy Miller just behind. And then our playoff lock-in, Travis Beckner there. He's looking to the outside. That leaves the door open for Nowicki. And looking right behind that there is Mercurio.
Yeah, Mercurio just slowly going to work the way up there as they go through, continue around, shuffle for position a little bit here back in the back. Danny Ware, where is he? Well, he's currently showing P14 and trying to do something a little bit more here and find something a little bit further up. Just continuing around here outside of turn 2. This is where that single file Nashville starts to really show itself. So on race starts, on restarts, You have that 2 wide, 3 wide, sometimes 4 wide, just depending on how things feel. That happens, and then things buckle into this single file run where you'll have one truck peek outside, one truck peek inside. You'll kind of just see this group of battles start, and you'll end up in sort of this follow the leader and sniff the exhaust situation, because it's a long run to lap 133 and nobody wins it on lap 9, 10, 20, whatever lap you're on if it's not 133.
Big move there to the inside. AJ Stravano thought it was 3 wide for a brief moment, but Jeremy Miller in the 30, he was already well cleared of that situation there. So worth noting as well that Tyler Hallman, remember, he did have the DT, the drive-through penalty. And if you are a Tyler Hallman fan in the 62, he did not go a lap down. He actually has that much distance, essentially the back straightaway of distance, and that is ever so shrinking, because his lap time 31:13. Actually, he was faster than the leader last time. So, no, he's doing actually pretty good. So, but he did stay on the lead lap after that drive-through penalty, much to my surprise. So he's going to be hoping for a yellow. But things are starting to smooth out, which I know everyone's going to castrate me for saying out loud that things are looking pretty slick here today. Slick in the sense of nice and cool, not in the sense of, we're spinning out every other lap.
What, no water on the track here at Nashville? Come on.
My goodness. If you watch PTR TV regularly, which we would hope you do, or at least tune in every now and then for a couple seconds here and there, give us a view. We covered a race here a couple Sundays ago where there was 16 yellows in about a race of the same distance here. The drivers had a lot of difficulty in the next-gen car. Of course, the next-gen did go through a lot of changes. We did race the next-gen here in area last night in the Cup Series, and I'll try to privy a little bit of information about that, as looks like Casey Lakatos closing in on the race lead.
Yeah, and as Lakatos continues to close in and go along here, you can see the difference between next gens and trucks for sure here, because here in area, the truck series, they really lock things in and go through. Watch this gap continue to close in. Come on, Casey, you're representing PTR TV here. You're only just the channel truck, so we need a good showing from the channel truck this week. I feel like we deserve that, Corey. So Casey, if you're listening to the broadcast, as for some reason many drivers love to do, they love to pull up the broadcast in the background and listen to it while they race. Some of them chat. Some of you all type in chat, and I'm not going to ask why, but yeah, Casey, do me a favor. Get that pass around the inside on that Toyota, and let's go ahead and put PTR TV in the lead, as it should be.
We're not biased at all, are we, Brett? Well, at least you are, anyways.
Hey, I own it is the thing, and I'm just saying, if we're putting our logo on a truck, I want that truck up in front.
We didn't put the logo on the truck. They did it for us. So again, we're not. Although I will say I was biased towards Daniel Day, hoping that he got in the Xfinity playoffs a couple weeks ago, the Florida State Pro Series. But either way, and then relating just a couple little tidbits of information, Kwame Scott did win the race last night in the Area Cup Series on the IDK Player YouTube channel. That race only had, for the course of 160 laps, only had 4 cautions for 9 laps. So that race actually went swimmingly green. So. And we are in the daytime conditions here, so again, grip is a little bit lesser than usual. But here comes Danny Ware, first battle on the track, and Mercurio has already cleared ahead of this. He is in the 14th spot, and Stravano getting a little bit tight, had to back off. And then here comes Travis Beckner trying to decide, do I get overly aggressive? I don't need to, because, I'm already locked in, but I do want to get up to the front. Mr. Beckner does.
I mean, Travis Beckner would love a win. I mean, locked in or not, he'd love to get the win here. I mean, you're a race car driver, a race truck driver. You're going for wins here. You're not just racing for the fun of racing. Usually, you'd love to be up front. I mean, here's the thing. We're in a league, right? Like, you're running for a win every time you show up here. You're not just running for fun. You're not running to get safety rating and I rating. You're showing up to show off at this point if you're in area. Especially at the back end of the season, you show up to show off. 13 here trying to show up to show off on the 35. AJ Stravano trying to get past Danny Ware. Where's Danny Ware? Danny Ware's in that red and white 35 on the high line there, trying to go through. And let's see as they hold it side by side side still, as Mercurio is just ahead going through that red Banner truck, just ahead there. 1335 still holding it side by side on the exit of 4.
Yes, they are indeed. I do want to just go back to the front of the field just a little bit. And you could see that battle Lakatos was enduring towards Noel has fizzled out. And again, we don't cover the Monday series, so I'm just kind of looking into some stats here while we're covering today's stream. Noel is leading after the first race after both races of the playoffs, so heading into the next round. Noel is leading the points over there in the Cup Series, and ideally, I'm pretty sure, if memory serves, he races on Thursdays too, so wouldn't that be nice to be able to get a triple crown here in the area? I don't know if anybody's ever done that. I imagine not, because that'd be a difficult feat, but Noel trying to put his stamp on Monday nights and also put his stamp on Tuesday nights.
Yeah, why wouldn't you want to do that, though? Let's be honest. That's one of those that, if you can end up in a position to get the Triple Crown, do it. Just absolutely send it. Because it always produces a great story if you could do that. And that's one of those that, we talk about things that go on the sim racing resume. Is the 35 is spinning in the background there.
Yeah, Danny Ware. We've been showing Danny Ware all stream. I was looking at the point standings. Yep, there he goes. We'll take a look at our Hendry County replay. Perhaps commentators curse there on Danny Ware as we've had him on screen for a good portion of the broadcast. Up top of the racetrack, Stravado, a lot of help there. And the painters of the grass, he didn't go through the Cracker Barrel logo, so the artists won't get too mad at him there, but a lot of track position lost, no damage, no caution.
And no caution being the nicest part of that, because if you can get away with the no caution, you just kind of keep things moving and grooving, which is exactly what you want to see here as we go through on board. Currently watching the battle between Jake Nichols and Jake Fisher. Jake versus Jake. Who's going to win? Who's going to get ahead of who? Well, it's going to be a Jake ahead of a Jake, at least. I could tell you that much as they go through and continue on. You can see the line being taken here through 3 and 4 out of the exit onto the straightaway coming through. Pretty much, again, it's that Nashville Super Speedway setup where, you kind of just get into a rhythm here and you're trying to get closer to the end and just hold the rhythm as much as you can.
And then I can confirm, as again, I'm just kind of scooting through chats here, that Noel is not on Thursdays. He is not running on Thursday, so he won't get the Triple Crown, but at the very least, 2 out of 3, especially if that's all you're running, that's certainly going to be something worth going for. But David Weishart, who has just had, he has been one of those, if he didn't have bad luck, he wouldn't have luck at all. And he's had much more pace, I would say, the second half of the season. Remember our Season 1 Cup champion, Mr. Weishart. He's had a lot more pace second half of the season. But the luck this guy has had is just absolutely atrocious. He's the guy that would get struck by lightning twice on a sunny day. Which, by the way, you have a better chance of getting struck by lightning twice on a sunny day than winning the Powerball. Cool little tidbits of information there, as he does get passed by Kenny Brady in the 78. Brady up to 4th, but he has a wiggle, and Weishart is going to try to retaliate and get that position back down to the inside and 1.
And there he goes through around down the inside yet again, trying to hold on. 78's going to work the high line, though. Doing a great job there, Kenny Brady, getting the way around and getting back up into position, but still holding that side-by-side as they come down the backstretch here. And you can see just how much the field has spread out at this point as everyone goes through, still holding side-by-sides up and down the field. Jake Fisher there trying to go around the outside of Joshua Ballet, trying to play the ballet here, and it looks like doing a good job of it there. Jake Fisher holding on to P number 8.
And it is worth noting as well that even though we did not have a caution, that does not absolve anybody of fault. AJ Stravado not getting a +2 incident penalty as a blinks out of the world, but he did get 1 incident point assessed to him for that that incident that he had with. I think I already forgot who it was. Memory doesn't go back that far, but yes, 1 incident point assessed to him. 73 of Jake Nichols. He is trying to work his way forward. He started today's race in 10th, up to 6th. But look at Garrett Conrath, someone who's always been competitive, but hasn't been going for the wins necessarily. But Garrett Conrath always there and has been top of the points, near the top of the points the majority of the season, closing in on that 73.
Yeah, continue closing in there as he goes. Just, at this point again in the run, you kind of know where you're at and where you're at in points. And depending on where you're at in points, you're either really racing for the win here because it's all you kind of have to hope to move forward into the second half of the playoffs, or you're just, you already know you're done, dusted, in, out, whatever it may be here as we go through. Still watching this battle. Watch out there for the 86 of Pacioli. He might have to patch up a truck if he's not careful there, trying to go around the inside of Bryce Sinisak, getting blocked a little bit there by Travis Beckner, as Beckner is still following through with Brian Mercurio up ahead, and then the 13 in the mix as well there, just behind of AJ Stravato. This is a feisty little battle coming up, and don't forget Mason Kane, the Daytona winner, who's sort of just coasted through the rest of the season. And he said when it was playoff time, he was ready to party. And I tell you what, that 31 might be really showing why he's ready to party today here in Nashville.
Someone who's fallen off the party train just a little bit is Casey Lakatos here. Well, Lakatos, pardon me. I think I'd get it right at this point of the season. He's now back to fourth. Garrett Grant has gotten up to second. And Kenny Brady is in third. And we are starting to have a little bit of lap traffic. Hallman, remember, he was the drive-through recipient. His time up front ahead of the leaders slowly coming to a close here. And then Peyton Howell, he was the one that spun through the grass and did recover, but a little bit of damage to be had to that truck here. So you talked about things being done and dusted, Brad. That is also Hendry County Motorsports Park, only for their summer season. They are closed for the summer season due to the heat in South Florida. But make sure you like them at HendryRacing.com. Check it out. When racing comes back in mid-September, you can get your tickets for $20 and your family pack for $25, and let your kids get in free. Again, Florida heat a little bit too much, so they're closed for the season, for the summer season. But racing will be back there soon at HendryRacing.com.
And that's going to be some fun racing, I'd say, to get into. I don't have a reason to make a trip to South Florida, unfortunately, but, make one just to go to Hendry County there and just have some fun. It'd be a fun one if you're in that area. Definitely show your local track some love and support here. Showing some love and support right now is still this mid-top 10 battle that really kicks off there with David Weishart and Casey Lakatos, who's dropped down into P4 and continues to sort of just hold his own there as he can there in that number 50. I mean, he's just... I think at this point, again, we're about to hit 100 laps to go, only 32 laps down. I wouldn't stress it if I was him right now. He's losing a little bit of time there to the top three, but it's not in a bad position, all things considered.
Here he goes round the outside, Travis Beckner, in that number 28, which I believe he's going. I think he is the passer. Yes, he is. So maybe some grip to be had. That track heats up, the groove heats up. That Hendry County Silverado, just getting updated here from our YouTube. They will have a demo derby, enduro, and some crazy races on August 30th. So they won't be waiting fully until mid-September to get some of your fun in, maybe before the school season starts there in August 30th, depending where you are in the world. Sometimes they start school in September, sometimes they start at late August, but either way, that might be a little end of summer folly that you can help attend there. Timmy Pacioli, what's on tap? Not in our chat here today, but what's on tap is Brian Mercurio wants the spot. Actually, no, Mercurio lost the spot. He was in 14th. Now he's down to 15th. And looks like, if anything, Mercurio might be holding things up. Stravato, Kane, and then Nowicki have since closed in on that number 82.
Again, I think we're just, Nashville is such a unique sort of track to me because of the way it runs, and you sort of have to race it with a Daytona or Talladega mindset of, sometimes it's better to just run and go and hang on as opposed to, overdrive, over push. And I almost wonder if that's not what he's doing right now, of just not trying to do too much too early, as Jalen Handcamp there and Joshua Ballet are playing the ballet and giving a little bit of back and forth, trying to see who can get ahead of whom there as we jump further back with the number 80, who is now trying to give challenge, give chase, give run, and find his way forward if he can against that number 88.
Yeah, I just talked earlier about Anna Sogak having a lot more speed late season here since he's changed paint schemes, or liveries for you road folk. which, if you're a road folk, I don't know why you're watching this, but either way, ever since he's changed paint schemes, he has been a lot faster, but that speed not showing tonight here at Nashville, currently in the 22nd spot. Going a little bit further back, trying to get everybody their little time in the sun here. Tanner Love, Ben Pierce, that's 24th and 25th position. Nico Servideo, again, he's another person who has really had a lot more speed in recent weeks, but again, this track's such an anomaly. And speaking of an anomaly, let's go 3 wide. That's Peyton Howell out to the outside. He is a slower vehicle. Lacanis has come back to the clutches of Weishart, and now Jake Nichols on his charge through the field tour. He's going to rip around the outside lane here at Nashville. That outside starting to come into its own here on lap number 37 and move Jake Nichols into P5 and maybe 4 if we don't wreck.
All right, so does anyone want to remind them that the race ends on lap 133? They've got some time here. I think this is, this is impatience starting to kick in. This is frustration of being stuck behind someone you don't want to be stuck behind there. And unfortunately for Casey, he is the cork in the bottle, and everyone has decided that they're going to pop the cork, send him back, and just go ahead and shuffle him to the back of the longest line and send him out of the way. 73, Jake Nichols gets past there, and I'd say that 29 isn't far behind. Garrett Conrath doesn't get past the 29 first as they go through side by side. Down low they go. Where they stop? Well, right now they're going to stop in about 95 laps.
Good thing you did that math. Oh, someone's trying to stop a lot earlier than that as a red truck. That is Jeremy Miller had a little intimate moment with the turn 4 safer barrier in that number 30. I'm trying to see if there's any damage. I could see a little scuff mark, but a little paint scheme issue on the right side. I'm sorry, a livery. We do have a paint scheme artist company in our chat here. That's a debate that PTR TV will never settle, paint scheme versus livery, but something that is trying to be settled is the 29 and the 49. Weishart, again, turn 4 seeming to be the trouble spot, but he kept the momentum built up, which is rather impressive, and he kisses the wall on the entry of turn 1, opens the door for the 49, but speaking of David Weishart Racing, Garrett Grant kind of going under the radar here today in that number 5 truck. Most starts in area history, and he is in second, about a half second or so off. Kenny Brady is about 3 seconds behind him. But he has kept Seth Noel honest, kept him in check this entire race as we come to lap number 40, closing in on 1/3 distance. And this is where we'll have to consider pit stops, of which David Weishart has already considered.
Yeah, I think David Weishart kind of felt what he was in there and kind of said, hey, I don't want to be in whatever this is I've gotten myself into. Get me away from this, which, if you're David Weishart, very, very, forgive the pun here, welcome to PTR TV, very wise decision, I'm going to tell you, from him to get out of that hornet's nest that was slowly building up in his way. So we'll see in the long run what that decision was. Look at this. The 86 Apache Yoli is in the midst of that hornet's nest as the 30 and 67 of Miller and Handcamp have a little bit of a tap there, and that 67 of Handcamp is going to pay for that and fall way down the order there. There's Mercurio going through. There's Stravato going through, and I have a feeling that if you watch at 67, that might be where our first caution comes from.
Well, if you're David Weishart, you're saying, guys, not now, not now. And what he's essentially trying to do, and I'm looking down the lineup here and seeing if anybody else, I don't see anybody else who has come in, but essentially trying to split this race into thirds. And I would assume, 133 divided by 2 is around 66, 67. I would assume the fuel will get you there. The thing is, will the tires get you there, and do you want them to get you there? So do you want to do that one-stop, two-stop? Perhaps lap 45 will be another lap for drivers who are looking to maybe do that two-stop strategy if they're going to go on that green flag cycle of tonight's race. Just to get an indication here as this battle for 7th, Travis Beckner on his way through, along with another one of those Hendry County trucks in the form of Conrath getting by Casey Lacatis here. But let's talk about the fall off here, Brad. 30.6 for the best, 32.2. What's that? 1.6 seconds of fall off. That is a lot of time on the stopwatch for fresh tires. So the two-stop versus one-stop may be something to consider.
Yeah, I think, honestly, for me, I would go for the two-stop. That is just my opinion, though. I tend to kind of play the more safe option, though, when everything's said and done in a race. I play the safer option, and I think for me, the safer option might be a two-stop on this one. You could try to do a one-stop.
No, who's that? Red Truck, not Conrad, it's Miller. And then behind that is, I believe, Senesac. Yep, so this is what I expected, around 45. That gives you 45, 90. Essentially gives you a 45, 45, and then 43 to be technical. So we'll see how that works out. But more importantly, it has to go green for that to work. So this is certainly going to be entertaining, and if you need more entertainment outside of the broadcast world and at your next party, consider Elite Entertainment from Boiling Springs, South Carolina. They provide a high-quality band production at any location, and karaoke, singo, and more. You can visit the link tree in the description, Elite Entertainment.
Watching Seth Noel here, I mean, this just has to be just fresh air breathing at this point. I mean, not really worrying about
P2.
Anything here.
Garrett Grant from P2 makes sense because, again, team owner David Weishart already in, so that is the strategy on David Weishart Racing. And then that puts a very difficult situation for these guys up front, Brad, because these strategy races, I know your bread and butter is on the roadside from back in the day, but if you're on a strategy and everybody else is doing something different, you have to trust the process. Because right now, Noel, Brady, they're losing a second and a half, almost 2 seconds a lap to those guys on fresh tires. And it gets so tempting to be like, oh no, oh no, oh no. But if that's your strat, you got to stick to it and you got to trust the process and allow it to follow through.
And listen, it is hard to trust that process. It truly is. You will second guess yourself. You will find yourself in scary moments, and you just have to trust that your calculations before the race, your teammates, your crew chief. I hate the look of that.
That's Grant on the fresh tires. He's driving like Superman here. He turned, he went into the I&I file and turned up the grip feature, and nobody else did. That's what these new tires feel like. It feels like he is Superman, and they're all stuck in third gear. But it'll all turn around the other way once his tires age, and they make their pit stop, and they're doing the same thing to him.
Yeah, I think the big thing with that, though, is the fact that he gets the run early, and sometimes as a driver, sometimes you have a better time defending on the slightly older tires than you do, trying to pit earlier and make those fresh tires work. It's weird to explain, but it kind of, when you're in the seat, it makes more sense that sometimes as a driver, you make things work in a way that's, just doable. So watch that 5. I think Garrett Grant is going to find himself in a very good position here shortly once these pit stop cyclists. Seth Noel is in. Now, to my point of trusting the process, I utter some confusion now. This would be, 80 laps? Which, I don't know if that's doable. If it is, it's on the very, very end of doability. Those tires are going to be ancient towards the end of it. So, whether he is going to make it a one-stop or a two-stop, I don't know. But, given his level here on the sim, he's leading the Cup Series points. He's obviously competitive here. He knows what he's doing. But for a one-stopper, that'd be a little early, in my opinion. Even here, getting a little ping in chat. Jacob Bell, he thinks people can make it to the end. But I would have picked maybe around lap 60 and given that insurance. But also, I roasted myself. You weren't here for this, Brad. You would appreciate this. My driving knowledge is that there of DW when Jeff Gordon joined the booth. My knowledge is so outdated because I just don't get to drive anymore. Maybe they can make it, but we'll find out. We have chat who's usually pretty good at helping us, so you're going to learn the strategy just as well as we do. As here comes Forrest Smith in that 15. And See, here's the thing with, you and me is that we rely a lot on YouTube chat, and we rely a lot on those drivers, behind the scenes to give us that little bit of extra edge that sometimes we don't get, because I'm kind of just like you. I just bought a house. I don't have a lot of time to drive right now. So we'll see what happens here, where it goes. And, again, though, doing the calculations on my knowledge of what I know, what I'm comfortable with, that tire fall off.
Oh no! Somebody, playoff driver, missed
slow.
Who is that? That's Jake Fisher. I think Jake Fisher missed the pits, which is talked about in the opening. Practice a green flag stop. Oh, Senesac. Was he trying to slow down? Yeah, he was trying to slow down and just flat wasn't looking in the mirror, or I don't quite know. But now he's going to come this time by. Maybe the call out wasn't had. Maybe on the other side the driver behind just didn't get the memo. But he had to come back around. I'm sure that other driver has some front end damage. As here comes Pacioli in.
Not what you want to see there at all in that moment. 74-67 side by side now. That is Nowicki and Handcamp that are going side by side here as they run through. And let's see there as that number 09 is going to carve through. Again, on the fresh tires, just audio.
And that was Senesac. I believe I just said that. It was Senesac, the one that kind of had that contact. I don't see any nose damage, so he's all right. Kenny Brady is our leader through the cycle now, half second over Jake Nichols. And let's pull up our stint graphic, because that'll give us the best indication of where we stand and who is on what strat. Our first pit stop is David Weishart. He's in the 18th position right now. And behind that, you have Garrett Grant, about a second or so behind him. And then Seth Noel is about 2 seconds behind that. So basically from Weishart to Noel is roughly 3 seconds right now. And in terms of tires, that's an 11-lap difference. So we certainly know Weishart's on a two-stopper. We certainly know that Grant is on a two-stopper. The question mark lies with Seth Noel, and we imagine everybody else after that should. You can hear the confidence in my voice. Everybody who pitted after Noel should probably be good for a one-stop, but we don't know. And confirmation, the 84 did not call out his pit stop, so that was a blind stop for Senesac to react to.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate for Senesac to kind of catch himself in that position. I'm going to tell you right now, just looking at the pace difference all the way through the field here of those who, pit earlier, those who didn't, kind of looking at fall off here. So looking at Jake Nichols there in the 73, a 32.5 was his last lap, a 30.8 his fastest lap, 30.7 to 30.9 is most people's fastest lap, somewhere in there. So I mean, if you're, and I'm looking at Anna Sogak, who has the 30.9 there. So I mean, if you're running a 30.9 as your best lap, you've probably been saving since lap 1. And as we can see, Anna Sogak hasn't pit yet. So it's just such a, I don't know. But our boy Casey is trying to make it work on a one-stop. So maybe I need to switch to the one-stop mindset. I just don't think that's the right option.
Brad, I'm getting insight here. Let's see if they do it. Everyone, as soon as they know we're on air, they stop doing. Nope, he's doing it. Brady is clutching it, which implies fuel save. Now, mathematics says that around 67 is halfway. I would imagine fuel is okay from this juncture on. Here comes Ballier. Here comes Diedrich into the pits here. A lot to be discussed here in this race. And if you do like NASCAR and you like hearing people discuss it, check out the High Banks podcast. Two blue-collar guys, Nick and Alex, talking about NASCAR more. Episode 228 has Jacob Bell. That is on Spotify. That is the High Banks podcast. I did ask Hunter who Nick and Alex are. He didn't have an answer. Jacob didn't tell me either. Nick and Alex are a mystery, but they're cool, two badass guys that are fun to listen to with NASCAR. So solve the mystery and check them out on Spotify.
And that is exactly what you should do after this race, though, because we're hitting almost half race distance. And when you hit half race distance, a switch is going to flip for some of these trucks. And things are going to get interesting here as we go through. 74 of Ryan Nowicki into the pits here. The 78 of Kenny Brady continues to lead over Jake Nichols by a couple tenths here. Now, are they still clutching? Because if they are, I think that's interesting. And let's see here.
Yes, sir. So,
all right.
So this is the fact that they clutch it right now implies that it's a lot harder to make it from halfway than we're justifying, which would imply that anybody to this point would have to have 2 stops. So we know nothing now, folks. We are literally just throw our knowledge in the paper shredder, put the paper shredder in the campfire, put some kerosene on it, and light it on fire. That is what we know right now, folks.
All right, Miranda Lambert, calm down over there. Anyways, the one thing I'm going to point out with all of this, though, is that the longer they go to the first stint, the less time they deal with poopy tires on the second stint. As we can see, Mercurio's in, Rocky Boyd is not in. I was about to say he was in. Stravato's in, and Anna Sogak's in.
Here he comes. Here comes Brady. Brady! No! Wow. Did it with style, but he did it.
I mean, that's one way to do it, I guess. Not the way I would prefer, but definitely not the fastest. Is that a Ricky Rudd save of the race contender?
I wouldn't even call that a save. That was kind of, for all you know, he just wanted to look cool. Yeah, see, if that was a controlled slide right there. I'm gonna say
he's practiced that at least once.
Ben Pierce in the pits. Pits becoming a busy place here. Here comes Jake Nichols, and there goes Garrett Conrath. Garrett going Steph Curry for 3, trying to gain some time there, and I believe he will do that. Coming into the attention of the crew here, as overlays might be pooping the bed on me right here. So forgive a second here while we reboot them up here. But Jake Nichols coming in for his service. We'll see how this all blends out. We'll in about 30 seconds after this pit stop, but we'll see how this all blends out, because now we have to consider the multiple strategies here at play with David Weishart, with Seth Noel, and then considering everybody else who has pitted at this point. To see how this is going to play out. Garrett Conrath did a really, really good job blending out and gaining a whole bunch of time through that cycle. But now let's see where things shake out. Seth Noel has gained the lead back, which is really nice for him. Garrett Grant in second, which is where he was prior. But David Weishart is showing as essentially the winner right now, being in the 3rd spot. And then we have Jeremy Miller in 4th, Travis Beckner in 5th, and Pacioli in 6th.
So, I have not a clue what the right strategy call is right now, and I hate it. I hate it when you're in this process where it's just not a clue on the planet who's on the right here. The thing is, we're going to know here shortly, right? Like, we're going to know here in the end of who is right and who is wrong. So let's see what happens here as they go through. I mean, it's going to be such an interesting thing to play out. And I think in the end, whoever we talk to, we're going to have to ask them, how do you know it's the right strategy? And I think the answer is going to be, I just trusted it.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Just not really having any idea what's going on. But remember, David Weishart, he pitted the earliest. He pitted around lap 45. Unfortunately, some of our stint data is not going to be corrupted, Brad, so we're going to be doing this the super hard way, but that even makes it more fun here. But we know he pitted around lap 45. Garrett Grant pitted around lap 50, give or take there. So that's really going to be the main thing to watch, is how far back is Weishart going to fall. He wasn't in the thick of it per se, but Garrett Grant was. He was roughly, a half second behind Noel, somewhere in that ballpark before the pit stop. But he has significantly older tires now, so we'll just wait and see how it all plays out. And then pertaining to Kenny Brady. He is back in 22nd now. He is on the lead lap. And he's 25 seconds off of the lead. So we'll have to watch. Is he doing any kind of clutching, or does he show any imminent concern of making the race on this current fuel load? Yes.
Yes.
So that implies everybody else is coming twice then, because if he's clutching it, he pitted the latest, that implies nobody else has a chance. And the fact that we can't go, what's a mile and a third times 70? That's like less than 100 miles. It absolutely floors me that we can't go 100 miles here on fuel, but what do I know?
I don't know anything is what I've learned. Nashville always teaches me that I have not a clue what's going on, as we have the 71 here in the 09 of Tanner Love and Bryce Sinisak still battling it out and continuing to go through here. I think what's going to be interesting to watch here is just how the gaps sort of start to compress and remix up who ends up where as things go. And at the risk of getting myself absolutely destroyed in the YouTube comments, we've now hit lap 75 without a yellow flag.
Yeah, this race is as clean as the house from Danny Tanner on Full House. Spick and span. Well, let me take that back. Not complete spick and span. We did have Peyton Howell have an issue on the straightaway. I think we had somebody go through the front stretch grass that memory is slacking me on. But those did not cause a caution due to the proximity of where they had their issues on the racetrack. But we haven't had any major wreck, nothing to cause a caution. Here goes Gabe Herschel on some fresh tires. He's going to rip around the outside of the 30 and the 28. That number 80 is one lap down in the 29th position, however.
Yeah, and seeing that number 80 one lap down there, I mean, it's unfortunate. It hurts, but, you know, kind of do what you can here. So we go through the 49 and the 73. Garrett Conrath all the way down in 19th. Gonna hope for a miracle run here on the day as things go. And, you know, that's sometimes easier said than done as we continue along and continue to watch that battle between the 49 and the 73. And let's see here how that number 73, Jake Nichols, handles having Conrath behind. I think right now, again, it's just drive through. We're going to start to see the pressure turn up here, I think, Corey, from some drivers. Is the 49 proves my point. Right on brand.
And then here comes another battle. It's Sinisak, and that is Diedrich for that 12th position. And then up front, mind you, Seth Noel is pulling away quite handily here. He's now up by 2.4 seconds over Garrett Grant. Travis Beckner, he is in the fourth spot, 8 seconds back. So, but then when it comes to the lead lap, we're on a 25th right now. Jordan Kuntz last on the lead lap, and Jordan was running 17th. Then he was running in the top 10 and then has dropped back. So he is starting to struggle here as things are getting hot here at Nashville. The racing, the strategies, and something else that's hot is rickshotsauce.com. You can head over to rickshotsauce.com for some of the best sauces in South Florida made locally. There's the Lokahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, and South Beach Heat. There is the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle on Mondays in the Area Cup Series, where they're sponsoring a $100 prize for that top rookie. So you can check them out, rickshotsauce.com.
Tell you what, I don't think I need some hot sauce for this race, though. I might need some for my chicken tenders for lunch tomorrow, but I don't think I need hot sauce for this race because even though it's been green flag all the way through, things are heating up all the way around as they go. I mean, look at this. The 24, the 84, the 7, Caden Diedrich trying to go low there on the 84. Jake Fisher, that's a playoff truck with a non-playoff truck battling. And then the 28 and the 29 going side by side. Plenty of battles all the way through here as we go.
Yeah, that's David Weishart. Remember, he was the first to pit around lap 43, I believe it was. And he is going to be closing in on that second pit stop. I mean, the window's open for it. It's just a matter of how much is he willing to lose, how much is he looking to gain, and on that last stint of the race and kissing that safer barrier. And we do have a pit stop. Danny Ware, he was one of the ones who had an agricultural excursion earlier in the event. And he is going to be the first driver to make that second pit stop.
Interesting call here on lap 80. So that's going to put him with 52 laps to go. I don't know. I don't know if that's the right decision or not. But again, this is one that you trust the process on and you stick to the strategy and it works out how it works out. And if your strategy wasn't working after the first pit stop, sometimes you roll the dice and you change something up on the second pit stop on the fly. And again, it's either going to work or it's not. And only one way to find out is to do it.
Well, of course, Brad, it's either going to work or it's not. That's like saying I'm a 50% shooter from three-point land in basketball, because you either make it or you miss it. There is no third option.
Well, I mean, that is accurate. I'll give you that.
Yeah, anyways, Casey Lakatos to the outside, Jalen Handcamp in that 67. Remember, Lakatos was given the pseudo pole upon the massive EOL list here on the evening, and was running top 5, but his strategy is a little bit different and kind of hard to tell who's on what at this juncture. But we'll work through. Someone trying to work through is Jeremy Miller in the 30, trying to get by Weishart. Now Timmy Pacioli, first time he's really been competitive, showing some top 5 pace, and he's looking to the outside. You can see right to the edge of that rubbered-in lane. That's the maybe a little bit cooler concrete here, giving him a little extra grip. Going to have a whale of momentum off the corner. Thought he was going to give Weishart a little bump draft. Instead, he's just going to use those fresher tires and try to sail around the outside as Miller tries to be meat in the sandwich, and I think thought better of it.
And Miller was really taking on the line of go for a gap that doesn't exist. That was a interesting decision there from him to try to make that work. Thankfully, as you said, backed out of it and decided to not do that. So let's see how things continue through. Getting some info on the background here and kind of keeping track of some different things with the points and with the playoffs. Peyton Howe is in some potential trouble to not advance tonight. Currently sitting 32nd last on the field, 2 laps down. Peyton Howe may not advance into the next round of playoffs if Peyton Howe can't get a little bit lucky today.
Yeah, a reminder of our points after Bristol. Remember that cut line is 8th, which is Garrett Conrath, and I mean, 3rd down to 9th is separated by 6 points. That's 6 positions, Brad. So being last, even though you're 4th looks pretty until you realize how close it is to the cut line.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big thing with it, too, is that cut line is so narrow. And, you know, I looked and I was like, he's in 4th. He's in a good spot. And then you remember just how tight those points are and the fact that we're going into a round of 8. And it kind of goes, never mind, disregard, doesn't matter. So, yeah, unfortunately for him, I think his playoff contention's on the night as he sits 2 laps down, or, well, it's probably game over.
And Bryce Senesac heading down to the pits. Remember, our second round of stops is still, is starting its process here. And based on if you're watching this, if you're just now watching us within the next last few minutes, you'll know this has been a caution-free race. We have had a pit stop strategy game going on. Some going for 1 stop, some going for 2, some pitting early in the 1-2 stop, some pitting late in the 2 stop, some clutching it for the 1 stop. So a lot. This is basically, you know, a Formula 1 race here with all the different strategies going on, and we're waiting to see how it all comes together as Diedrich into the fence there. So Kenny Brady, remember, he was still him, and who was the other driver? Jake Nichols. They were allegedly clutching it earlier. Let's see. Yep, right there on cue. Saw those RPMs down to 300. So they are trying to do 1 stop. And again, I am just baffled, Brad, that they can't go 67 laps on a track this short. I'm having a hard time believing that, but obviously it's true.
Yeah, it's, I don't know if that would be my thought process either, that you would have such a hard time going that many laps on this track. Again, maybe I'm just way off in my understanding of fuel mileage calculations and trucks.
No, whoa. You see those wheels locked up. Did he make the speed limit? $1 million question. And he was, where was he in the points? He is 4th in the points. Noel, he's right in that thick of it as well. He is 26 points out. So really anybody in that 4th to 8th bubble in the point standings cannot afford a mistake. He was hot into that. He was like Nelly. He entered those pits hot in here. So, but Garrett Grant remains on the track. And Garrett Grant, he is going to pit late. He's going to pit ultra late. But seemingly got down smoothly.
Yeah, let's see here. That's a much
Noel
better
got out.
entry.
He got out on time, so it's like Ja Rule. Maybe he wasn't there when he called, but he was always on time. He was on that pit time, and he got out and maximized it.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the best place to be here as they go around. Let's see how that cycles out here. The 7 now in of Joshua Ballet, stopping in the box. Very smooth stop, I'd say. They're in. The 5's just now going out. Man, I know we're not in Vegas. We're in Nashville, but I tell you what, I feel like we're really rolling the dice right now with how this race ends here. Lap 92 and 133, and again, the fuel mileage has caught me out. The tire drop-off being so significant has caught me out. But I'm also wondering if the tire drop-off was actually that significant, or if that wasn't just a case of drivers, saving a bit to try to make different stop strategies work.
Well, speaking of saving, we're going to have to really assess the situation now. Because remember, 1-stop, 2-stop, Kenny Brady on the 2-stop, Jake Nichols. Well, Kenny Brady and Nichols on the 1-stop, everybody else on the 2. Where are they going to fall out, come into the mix here? How far back is Noel, Grant, and company going to be in relation? And is the saving that is required going to require them to go slow enough that those 2-stoppers can go full send around this place and pass them anyways? We'll have to really assess that once things sort of cycle out here. Right now, I'm sorry, based on what I'm seeing now, those savers got no chance because he's only 15. Noel's only 15 seconds behind the lead right now, and Kenny Brady is 2 seconds behind. So he only needs to gain 12 seconds in 30 laps. So really, that 1-stopper's got no chance, in my opinion.
I 1,007,000% agree with you on that one. Like, there is.
Look at the laps there, Brad. 32.3. And of course, these laps will get slower. That's 1.8 seconds lap faster. That's time by 7 laps. He's there.
Yeah, I mean, I fully agree with you. I do not think a 1-stop was the right strategy. And again, maybe they have something in the tank that we don't know. About, but I don't think a 1-stop was the right call. And if you made a call for the 1-stop, I mean, at this point, you're committed to the bit. There's nothing you can do but just ride it out and kind of finish where you finish.
I think if the 1-stop was able to be done without fuel saving, and they were able to go, full send, full yeet, whatever the kids are saying these days, all out, I don't know, something cool. If they were able to go 100%, I think it would have been more plausible. But having to go slow and save tires and be, a track this abrasive, but you never know. We could always get the last second yellow and throw a complete wrench into all of this. It's completely possible. So you'll have to stay tuned and check out what will happen. And something else worth checking out is shop.areairacing.com for high quality merch at low prices. Shop from over 100 selection of hats, t-shirts, champion clothing, and other accessories. Easy to shop, quicker to ship, better to wear. Shop.areairacing.com for all your area merch. And here comes Diedrich, and here comes Jake Fisher to the attention of their crews here. Well, covering the century mark.
Boy, speaking in some, we're playing the dangerous game here with all of these last second speaks in for no caution yet. Where is a caution coming in? I mean, like, we are really, really speaking some crazy things into existence here. So, we're playing the game, and we're doing a good job of it, though. Here's the thing. I mean, the drivers are just proving a point here that Area iRacing has some of the absolute best of the best in their 3 leagues here. I mean, look at this. Lap 100 and 133. Not a single caution yet, and still great battles all over the place on track. I mean, you couldn't ask for much better here as Jake Nichols is trying to chase down Kenny Brady here and get the pass for P3 at the moment. 33 laps to go, make it 32 laps to go, and, you know, just it's that patience, it's that persistence that is kind of playing in at the moment.
And patience and persistence a lot of times is the name of the game here. So Garrett Conrath being registered as our leader right now. Mercurio in second, Kenny Brady in third, and then Jake Nichols. They are on that old one stopper in the 4th spot. And the difference between, you know, Brady and Noel, now it's only 5 seconds. Talked about it being over 12. Now it is only 5 seconds. So although the times are starting to decay, Noel is in the 31.1s right now. He was in the 30.6s. Let's just take a look at the last time. 31.19 to, right around, still a second faster. So Noel will be there in no time at all.
Yeah, and I mean, that's all he's got to do is just continue to be faster. He's got plenty of laps to get it done. He doesn't have to do anything, you know, too crazy with it. It's just continue to be smooth, continue to be fast, and very clearly has all of that under control as we continue this race here with 30 laps to go now. And I think it's interesting to see Brian Mercurio there in P2, but I don't think Brian's going to stay there, if I'm right. Should have to make one more stop, so unfortunately for that number 82 is not going to be there as the 49. Tell you what, that's hard fighting from the 49 against the 52 as they go around. Peyton Howell now going another lap down.
2 laps down there. And who else do we got? Casey Lakatis coming into the pits here. And so I'll give... Remember, our stint graphic, I did have a back-end issue. Looking to get it fixed. I'm waiting on the software engineer to get back from holiday here. But anybody that says in the 100s, they have to pit again, per everything that we know. So that being said, omit those drivers. They're going to have to pit again. I guess less Brady and Nichols. I don't know why those numbers are messed up. But basically, that gives you a rundown. Anybody who's in the 100s, that's a glitch. But you could see 14 for Noel, 38 for Coons, 13 for Garrett Grant, 14 for Beckner. Those are all since their last stop. Garrett Conrath, 38. So I guess by that logic, we've been kind of omitting that 49 if he's on the same strategy as Nichols and Brady. And I guess we've just kind of been omitting it.
So a little bit of back-end info here. Mercurio and Conrath pitted laps 64, 66, respectively.
Okay.
They are going to go for it. Surely they're going to go for it, right?
I mean, Mercurio, he's playing with house money. I wouldn't say that Garrett Conrath, Garrett Conrath, he's not playing with house money. But Mercurio can. He mathematically, I mean, the farthest back he would fall is probably about 23rd. And with his lead over the cut line, he could spare it. But Garrett Conrath, to play a risky call, given his situation, if it works, awesome for you. If it doesn't, it might put you out of the playoffs.
Yeah, it's such a interesting position to kind of find himself in, but I think he's forced his hand into that one-stop gamble that we talked about, and it's not the best position to find yourself in at all, but unfortunately it is the one that he's at, so we'll have to wait and see what happens with this for the run to the end here is the 13.
Oh, Howell really
flying.
And Howell really struggling there to the outside. But now we're down to 25 laps to go, and Seth Noel getting by Kenny Brady. We saw that one coming, and we also saw this one coming. This is the fresh tires at play. Only a second and a half behind even the race leader of Garrett Conrath. So anybody who had a question, one stop two, the one, he's going to prove it true. Remember, he's going for the double title. He wants to win on Monday. He wants to win on Tuesday. That'd be a good payday in the pocket, on top of the pride, on top of the record books here. And an instant green light into the next round, and only 1 second and 24 laps to get there.
I mean, you just got to keep it going, keep it moving here, and is definitely putting himself in the right position to do it here. Let's see how things play out to the end. 110 of 133 for, Corey, we got to say, this has arguably been the cleanest race that we've had on the channel in a while here as it goes through. I mean, these guys are just cruising around Nashville.
And absolutely, I don't even remember. We've had a couple of these races. It has been some time, and I do enjoy them. Being able to put the brain to work and think about all these strategies and seeing how they work out. But look at that gap. It went from 1 second down to nothing in literally 2 laps. And Conrath is 24 lap older tires, and there you go. He's got nothing. He will drive on by. He has been the fastest truck all race. He started on the outside of the front row, and once he took the lead essentially from the get-go, it's been his. 73 laps. Only ones he has not led, 74. Only one he has not led has been via the strategy. It has not been a speed battle all race. It's Garrett Conrath, David Weishart, Timmy Pacioli. This is a battle just outside the top 10. Pacioli has the fresher rubber, and a big slide. As soon as he gets by, he slides it, and Weishart, even on the older rubber, is going to try to get that spot back.
Yeah, and I mean, watch Weishart here try to fight it back through and do what he can coming around there with that 86 of Pacioli on the outside. And Pacioli just very smooth, very cool, calm, collected on that preferred outside line here at Nashville. Gets his way through as we hit. What did you just cut to? Because that's Sitasak giving me a heart attack.
Oh, and Jonathan Evans, 26. He is another playoff driver that we haven't spoken of, and he's 23rd and on the cusp of going 1 lap down in the near future here is Justin Anasogak. He's going to come into the pits and pull the car there and not try that strategy, and he overshot his pit box just to put a little insult for injury there. But here comes that 26 in that 09. I thought that was going to be the first caution of the race here with 20 laps to go. And at this point, Brad, I mean, who wants a caution? Who doesn't? We know Seth Noel doesn't want a caution. But Garrett Conrath, does he want a caution? He's in second. Brian Mercurio, does he want a caution? Maybe he wants a shot at the win, but if you thought about where he was running prior to that, I mean, he was running mid-teens because of that penalty, never got to recover. So, I mean, if I'm him, I would take the third and move on with this. I don't even know if I'd want a caution to reset.
So I think it really just depends on how you're feeling. Like, I would want just the third place in a runoff with it. I mean, that I do agree with. I wouldn't want anything crazy to happen. But I think, some drivers probably think they have a lot more of a shot if they can get a bit closer and have a bit more. Peyton Howe obviously is going to want a caution to try to get a lap back at least. But I think even for Peyton Howe, if there's one caution, I don't think that's enough. And you get into a whole thing that I don't think he wants to be in. So I just think at this point, let this race run to the end. Just let it play out and let it go.
Well, someone who's not letting go, Travis Beckner, getting by the 15 of Forrest Smith. And to the inside, Anasogak on the fresh tires. He'll get by. And let's just take a look at our weather, Brad, because this track, it has gone down 6 degrees in the hour and a half or so that we have been out here at racing. But really, and I'm not sure if it's the setup, it's the skill, it's the track, combination of the three, but other than maybe some over-aggressive pit entries, I don't think we've seen more than one or two drivers wiggle here. These trucks seem to be super stable here at Nashville. Not seeing any real issues pertaining to control or, running sideways on the right rear. So these things seem pretty gripped up, which surely has led to how clean this race has been.
I mean, this is the most stable I've ever seen a truck, period, around anything NASCAR related, actually. I'll just expand that. This is the most stable I've seen a truck, a car, an open wheel, anything run in weeks, months, probably this year, in all of our coverage that we've done. I haven't seen anyone, have trucks this planted, have cars this planted, and just be able to run through without, a care in the world, basically, and just continue to battle and run and race. It's so amazing to kind of see where we're at here with 15 laps to go. And Garrett Grant, you saw there maybe a little bit of a bump and run there, and a little bit of a wiggle behind him there from the 28. I believe that was of Travis Beckner, having a little bit of a wiggle as we ride on board with Nichols, who's trying to chase down Mercurio, and
he's still not comfortable. He's still not comfortable on fuel.
Not at all.
He's not comfortable on fuel, but he's still going to go for a pass here. That's the podium spot. That's the interview spot, third place on the line here. Who's going to get that? Anna Sogak, he's probably just going to go dive 3 wide. He's on fresher Goodyears, but no, he's not going to go 3 wide. He's like, I don't want to screw up this battle, but I want to get myself going here. Anna Sogak 1 lap down. He does have about 5 or 6 drivers ahead of him, and on the infinitesimally small chance of caution is to come out. And he's going to kind of give the bump draft, but it is hard on those old tires to make those passes work on the bottom. But it looks like Mercurio, one way or another, will suffice to it. Take that back. He's going to pull side by side once more.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that he's not comfortable to make it to the end yet. That's really shocking to me here. 12 laps to go. You really need to know at this point if you're in the position to make it or not, as we see him going through. And pit lane's starting to get busy here right at the end.
It's Tyler Hallman in that 62. He was our one driver who had the pass-through, the drive-through penalty to start the race. And for all his luck, the one time he has a drive-through penalty, the race goes completely green flag. As Kenny Brady, Forrest Smith trying to throw the last second caution out here. That was a millimeter separating them there. I'll use the metric units for our livery friends out there. But luckily we were able to persevere through that, as Nichols and Mercurio still can't settle out that third spot.
I don't think this third spot's going to be settled out until we hit the checkered flag here, 11 laps to go. And you can see this is kind of a cork in the bottle for a lot of drivers that want to make their way around. And that is, the really unfortunate thing. Anna Sogak would love to get past here and try to at least get back on a lead lap with 10 laps to go in case something does happen. But these two, are basically taking up the whole track, and there's nothing he can do but just send it around the outside. Can he make it stick, though?
Like two trailer park girls, Anna Sogak goes around the outside and just says, I'm sick of you guys holding me up here. I'm trying to get something out of the remainder of my race. That is Peyton Howell, who may have learned that trick and try to execute it himself. Garrett Grant, remember, he was realistically the second-place driver prior to the pit stop cycle starting. And I don't know if he'll get second out of this, but he very well could and probably will get third. He's on fresher tires and has that ability to make that happen, but struggling underneath that 73 as well.
And seeing that struggle continue along here just, is not the best thing to be seeing here as we continue to watch this battle that's basically shaped up into a 3-truck battle there for third place. Checking back in, though, with that number 86 of Pacioli, as Pacioli has Rocky Balboa coming around through. And is that Weishart going down low? That is indeed Weishart going low. 2-for-1 special, trying to get the 2-for-1 around the inside. Can he make it stick? No, Pacioli gets brave in the middle.
Yeah, he's with David Weishart on newer tires than them and trying to make it happen, but on older tires as they are now, even new old tires, still hard to make that inside lane work. at certain junctures, but Mercurio has held on for the time being, and now swapping lanes. Garrett Grant in the 5th place for the moment, trying to get 4th using that outside lane. Peyton Howell just kind of stuck waiting in similar fashion to what we saw a few laps ago with the other lap down vehicle. Garrett Grant has cleared. Now he'll set his sights on the back of the 82 and to the inside of the 82 quite rapidly.
Very quickly around the inside there, and the 5 going to try to hold on to it. The 82 is going to squeeze in there. No! Womp. Oh.
Womp. That, okay, for all you folks watching on our Hendry County replay, that was about 20 laps after we made any statement. That's not a commentator's curse. But not taking credit for it. That's the 62 of Hallman. Remember, he just pitted. And that, on top of a caution that could change the outcome of this race, that is the cementing factor of Peyton Howell probably not making the playoffs. Well, round 2 of the playoffs, to be specific. So now we're going to catch up to the pace truck. And now let's pull up our stint graphic again. Omit the glitch on 129. We know Mercurio probably going to pit. Look at these numbers and ask yourself this question, and I'll ask you, Brad. Who is, I don't want to say the S word, that rhymes with poopid. Who is crazy enough to stay out and try to make something ridiculous happen on this restart? Because it's probably going to go into green-white checker.
Seth Noel's in. Oh, this is such a mixed bag of decisions that I disagree with.
I mean, you kind of, it's 2 seconds of fall off, but we'll just have to wait for timing to update to see who actually stayed out, if any. It would just be such a, I'm trying to be nice and politically correct. It would just be such a ridiculous call to stay out. I don't think anybody did, actually. Timing is not indicating that, so everyone was smart and pit. 4 tires and fuel seems to be the normality. Actually, no, let me take that back. Let's pull up our pit box times, Brad. 2 tires for the majority of the field. Garrett Conrath, 4 tires for him, so that's, 40 laps on those left sides? We haven't, I will put on my bingo card, nobody has practiced running old tires with 40 lap lefts and brand new rights. So the Garrett and Garrett show, this could be on row number 3.
Oh, man, this is going to be... Oh.
And this is all ahead of your leader right now, which is being scored as Seth Noel. These are all waiver round drivers. You have Servideo, Denice, Smith, Anna Sogak, Nowicki. They are all going to get waiver rounds, and I believe Casey Lakatos was our free pass. So it'll be 3. So this is going to be... And we've had a couple of these, Brad. These are usually anomalies, but they've been happening more and more common. This is going to be a regulation green-white checker. So it's still scheduled at 133 laps, but we're going to have a 2-lap shootout to finish this thing through. And who is going to be chugging that can of victory fuel? I genuinely and honestly could say I have no idea, but my bet says it might come on row 3.
I think it's the viewers that are going to be the ones chugging the victory fuel, because this is going to be one heck of a race finish if there's ever been one. And that is the best way I know to phrase that is, it's the family-friendly way to phrase it, is that this is going to be one heck of a race finish here. So buckle your seatbelts, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't gotten a snack, well, sucks to be you. You're a little too late, because Pace Truck's going to pull off, and, well, let's see who gets victory fuel when it's all said and done.
2 laps to go. Will all these drivers get up to speed? Will there be any wheel spin? Will they get through the corner okay on those untested 2 tires? Let's find out together and solidify our round of 8. Green flag in the air, 2 laps to go. Good jump by Noel. Watch row number 3, watch the 5, and watch the 49 on those 4 fresh ones.
And here we go around the fresh tires. Doesn't make the difference. Doesn't make the run. Let's see what happens here. Top 4 stacked up by a rate of nothing here. And Seth Noel just needs to basically run it through. Coming around, if we get the white flag, we should get the checkered. Let's see here as we exit out of 4. Will they make it to a white flag coming through? Barney has the white flag. White flag waves. 1 lap to end it all.
1 lap here at the Nashville Superspeedway, a race that will have been marred by simply 1 caution with 5 laps to go. But Seth Noel is going to come off the back straightaway here, who has led a myriad of laps, pushing 80 laps here on the day. And we thought that maybe there would have been a chink in the armor there with that caution flag, but nope, he's going to persevere and he's going to punch his ticket into the round of 8. Seth Noel going for the double crown. He's going to make it look easier by transferring with the win here at Nashville.
What a great run from Seth Noel there to gamble it out, make it count, make it run, and everybody through the field just... That was such a hard-fought race. Just the single caution there at the end, mixing it all up.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, obviously those 2 tires held on a lot better than expected because Garrett, they didn't move. They finished 5th and 6th here on the day, but Seth Noel getting that win on the season here in the Truck Series, and surprisingly, Brad, this is actually his first win on the Truck Series schedule here. I'm refreshing it on the back end, making sure. It's very hard to believe, but yeah, this is his first win. And you know what happens a lot of times here, Brad, in these NASCAR playoffs, that someone rises to the top when it matters, and that could very well be this driver right here.
Yeah, and it's just a case of, the fun with the playoffs is that it just takes one thing to, you just have to run it through, run it right. And, sometimes that's where you end up. That's what you get, and we might be seeing it.
We'll see what happens, but some more racing to be had. But wrapping up here today, a myriad of yellow, that is meaning the playoff drivers did dominate our top 10. Noel and Nichols. Kenny Brady with a 3rd. Travis Beckner solidifies a good win at Bristol with a top 4 here today. Garrett Conrath in 5th. Couldn't make anything out of those tires, as could the 6 of Garrett Grant. Well, the 5th, number 5 in 6th spot. Brian Mercurio recovers from that EOL and gets a 7th out of the deal. Stravano, Timmy Pacioli, and Weishart rounding out our top 10.
And there we move on. P11, Jeremy E. Miller. And the E stands for, I don't have an answer right now. Rocky Boy the 3rd in P12 with Jordan Kuntz in P13. Danny Ware, where was he? He was in 14. And Caden Diedrich finds P15. Mr. Daytona, Mason Kane in P16 with Joshua Ballerini. Finding his way in P17. Jalen Handcamp 18th, Bryce Sinisak P19, and Ben Pierce P20.
Sally sells she shells by the seashore. Nope, couldn't do it.
Yeah, I can't say that.
Tanner Love in 21st, Gabe Herschel in 22nd, Jake Fisher 23rd, and that is the end of the yellow. We got Lakatis, remember he was up front early, didn't last. Anna Sogak, the Wiki Smith, the nicer video, and Hallman, and then just rounding things out, Howell and Evans. So that is 2 guarantees not to transfer to the next round. But let's start things out here and head down to Victory Circle, which is brought to you by Victory Fuel. You can get Throttle Punch, Purple Potion, Lucky Lemon, all caffeine-free, packed with electrolytes, charged with vitamins, and kid-friendly. Get 10% off your order with code AREA iRacing at checkout. Seth Noel, you dominated this race. You didn't necessarily start on the pole, but you may as well have got the lead, and it just turned into one of those good old-fashioned strategy races. At what point did you know that, all right, I'm on the right side of things here tonight?
I felt really good after that first run when Jake and Brian and Garrett all came out like a second ahead of me. I'm like, ooh, okay, we cooked. Yeah, I mean, we had good pace, and 2-stop ended up working way better than I was expecting. I honestly expected to get like 10th if it had stayed green, and I guess they just had to save like that extra like 2 laps each run that just really slowed them down. And overcut was good enough to get past Garrett on the first run after the stop and set sail. And then we get the yellow, and I'm freaking out and able to hold him off.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, obviously 2 tires for the majority of you guys, and then 4 tires were about road number 3. Was there any concern about how that truck was going to fire off, how it was going to get, off the loud pedal, how it was going to dive off into turn 1, or did you have confidence that those 2 tires would be able to hang on for, the 3 miles that they did?
I had tried it in practice just to see how it was, and it was okay enough that like I felt confident it would work for that exact scenario right there. Like 3 laps. If we had gone like 10 laps, I was going to be worried, but 3 laps right there, just especially having Jake with me, and then we had Travis and Kenny also, so the box all the 4 guys in, and able to hold them off.
Absolutely. And Brad, we just said they don't practice it. He did practice it. Well, you lock yourself in, and obviously we know Monday nights, you're essentially going for the double crown here, Mondays and Tuesdays, and looking good here. So we got Auto Club, we got Vegas in the round of 8. How are we looking here to transfer ourselves in with a win it in, or just having some solid runs?
The goal is just finish both races. So they're going to be chaos just because of how those tracks race with the truck. A lot on throttle time. So the goal number 1 is finish. What happens after that, we'll see. It's good to get the 5 extra points from this race, winning this one. That's going to be huge, hopefully in 2 weeks. And maybe that might be the difference.
Absolutely, man. Well, we'll congratulate you once again. Any final words before we let you go?
Shout out Mad Liveries. We ran the Swim Night in America scheme. Finally got in victory lane. We haven't gotten in victory lane since Atlanta last season in the Truck Series. So finally able to get that second win. Appreciate Matt all season with the graphics for 609, and hopefully we can get another maybe 3.
We'll see what happens. And just for you guys, we always have a debate. Is it a paint scheme? Is it a livery because of your sponsor? We'll say it's a livery.
I mean, in the game, it's a paint. In real life, it's a livery. Let's be real.
All right. We'll put you right in the middle on that debate as well. But congrats, and we'll see if we talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. And then P2, we'll send it off to you, Brad, with Jake Nichols.
Jake Nichols, man, congratulations on the P2. I got to ask, do you think you had anything left in the tank there to try to find that win?
Not in that last run. I filled it a little too much for the 2 tires. That I was kind of just a little too free, but we were just focused on getting to the checkered and getting a 1-2 and really making this team point race pretty interesting. We were quite a bit back halfway through the season, but now we're going to be around like 20 points back, which is huge. I mean, it's going to be a battle and a brawl with coast to coast for the rest of the season here, but overall an okay night. I mean, I didn't race too hard, just saving fuel. I wish I honestly would have been on the other strat, just not even that it was faster, but just to see where I could have been compared to Seth. I felt like my long run pace the first run was pretty good considering we were saving, but overall we'll take it. It's a good night for 609. Obviously a great night with a 1 and 2. Ever since I've been running this purple truck, this specific purple truck, we've been running pretty good. So hopefully we can continue that into the next round and make our way into the Final 4.
Yeah, absolutely. And I got to ask, what made you decide one strategy over the other? Was there anything that kind of pushed you to go that way, or was it just, the situation you found yourself in and it was just what you went with?
I knew certain like other guys that I was kind of ahead or battling with in points were kind of doing it. So I noticed pretty early that it was easy, like not easy, but it's always hard to make it, halfway. But I felt like just after a few laps, I was already pretty close to the number to make it to 66, coming to 67. So I was just like, why not? Let's see. I know Seth was doing the opposite, so kind of having 2 of us on a different strat isn't the worst situation. So if obviously if the 1 stop works, then we're battling for the win. If the 2 works, he's going battling for the win. So it was nice having that split there. I did think that would have had a better shot. We kind of got held up a lot, to be fair. I just couldn't pass at the end there. It was kind of hard, but either way, the wreck happened right behind us, and 2 tires. I didn't think it was gonna, I didn't really think about it. Seth told me to do it, and it hooked up pretty good. So it was definitely the right move.
I mean, it was great to watch, and I got to ask, what are we thinking for the next couple of rounds here? What's going to be the goal for you?
Survive. We are in an okay point spot, not great for every round at start, but being ahead is always nice. But I think we're going to be packed up pretty good, like 15, 20 trucks in a pack kind of deal. Just a lot of draft the next 2 weeks, especially Auto Club. But if we can just survive Vegas, maybe have a few guys that we're battling with kind of have rough weeks, then that'll pretty much put us in a good spot to just finish Auto Club and make it to the Final Four. But hopefully we can just stay clean. That's going to be the name of the game here in the next round for sure.
I think it's going to be awesome to see where you end up, Jake. Congratulations on the P2 man, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you more throughout the rest of the season.
That sounds good. Thank you.
All right, and then wrapping up our top 3 here today will be Kenny Brady. Kenny Brady always trying to be playoff spoiler here, and you were on that one stopper, and obviously it wasn't going to be enough, but then there was that last second caution. Was there any hope that, all right, maybe I could pull something off here, or were you kind of content to just, survive with the top 5?
Yeah, I was probably content to just finish in the top 5 there. Obviously, I've had some pretty consistent runs, so I was just trying to survive. So took 2 tires at the end, and got to 3rd, so that's nice. I don't know, I guess I forgot that 2 tires is pretty fast here. So that third or that second stop that Seth did, I think he took 2 tires because he was moving and he caught us a lot sooner. So, but yeah, nonetheless, good race. I mean, a calm race, and got out of there with a good finish.
Yeah, obviously we know a lot of races can end up, in calamity. Got a lot of yellows. Kind of takes a strategy of it. What is it like as a driver to have one of these races that's, completely on the top of your head, coming up with a strategy, not knowing if that yellow is going to come out? Is it a nice breath of fresh air to kind of run a race green and have to be thinking on the edge of your seat the whole time?
Yeah, I'll take it over like a wreck fest or like a race that has, a caution every 30 laps. So especially at Nashville, there's not much fall off, and even if there is fall off, there's a lot of or there's not really any other line to run. So it's more of a track position race. So to have it go green the whole way, yeah, it was definitely more fun. I honestly thought the one stop was the way to go. So, but obviously it wasn't.
Yeah, well,
so what was fun there, but just made the bad strategy call. But I know for next time that 2 stop is the move.
I don't know if we're planning on seeing you for the remaining races for the round of 8 and the round of the championship round. If you're, I don't know if you're going to be there for them, but if you are, what's going to be the mentality? Of course, obviously winning the race, you always want to do that, but I know there's always that fine line of you don't want to be that guy that necessarily takes gets in the playoff picture. So what's your strategy to kind of balance that line?
Well, yeah, I've wanted to show up every race I can. Work has just been scheduling me on either Monday or Tuesday. So I either can race truck one week and not cup, or cup and not truck. So, but yeah, I just kind of want to race to have fun. So I'll do my best, but try not to get in the way of anybody. And honestly, I don't even know. I know Jake and Seth and Brian are in the playoffs. I know there's a bunch of others, but I don't know who they are. So maybe I have to do a little studying so I know for sure who to be cautious around, because I don't want to ruin anything. And yeah, so I know I have Tuesday off next week, so I don't know if there's a race next week, but if there is, I'll be there.
All right, man. Well, we'll see you next time. I think we're Vegas at our next race. So any last words before we let you go?
Yeah, just shout out Lucky Duck Motorsports. John, obviously, letting me drive for him, and then Meals on Wheels and Tiltify and the Wounded Warrior Project. And hopefully I can run more of these, and also you guys for the broadcast.
All right, absolutely, my friend. Congrats on a solid run, and we'll catch you next time you're able to join us.
Thanks, guys.
All right, well, that'll wrap things up here today, Brad. A quick one here from Nashville that ends in a little bit of chaos. Well, I don't even want to say chaos. It ended in a surprise manner given how the race went, but ultimately a nice quick race here at Nashville tonight.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wouldn't call that chaos. I think that was just one of those that sometimes you have those unpredictable endings that happen. And I think that was a great one. I think that was a case of Area and Nashville showing up and showing out. And, I can't wait to see how the next couple rounds go.
Absolutely. So make sure you stay tuned. Subscribe to PTR TV. We'll be back tomorrow night with the Elbows Out Racing series and their multi-class action. We'll be back on Thursday night here for the Florida State Builders Pro Series. I don't know why words are struggling me. And then we'll be back Sunday night with the Triple Bypass Next Gen series. But that's going to be Corey and Brad signing out of the booth. Have a great night, and we'll catch you next time.
See you.